For the next couple of weeks, we're going to be looking at poetry. We're going to be looking at sonnets specifically from the Renaissance. And in order to do that, we need to have a little bit of background. Now, there might be some stuff in here that you're familiar with already. There might be some stuff that's new to you, and there might be some stuff that's review for you. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the poetry terminology that I'll expect you guys to understand and know for the next couple of weeks. Okay. First, the easy stuff, mostly just definitions. Stanzas. A stanza is a group of 2 or more lines that form a unit in a poem. Okay. So for example, I think I shall never see something so lovely as a tree is 2 lines. And if it was part of a longer poem, there would be a space right after it. And then the next 2 lines, and then a space, and the next 2 lines. That 2 lines is called a stanza. Now, a 2-line stanza is called a couplet, as in couple. A couple means 2, right? Campus, couple, couple. 2. If there is a 4-line stanza, we call it a quatrain. Quattro means 4. Quarter means 1/4, right? So a 4-line stanza. It is an ancient mariner, and he stoppeth one of 3. By the long grey beard and glittering eye, now wherefore stoppest thou me? Okay, 4 lines, quatrain. Okay. Now, for an easier one, end rhyme. You guys should know end rhyme already, right? That's the rhyming at the end of a line. Cat, fat. We use letters to denote the rhyme scheme. So because cat is the first letter, it gets A. Fat rhymes with cat, so it also gets A. In the next line, flies is a different sound from cat and fat, so it's B. And then cries, B. So I love that cat, but it is too fat. So when he flies, everyone cries. It makes no sense at all. It's a nonsense poem. But the rhyme scheme, A, A, B, B. Okay. That one you should all know. However, internal rhyme might be new to you. Internal rhyme is when you have words that rhyme that are within each line. Internal conflict, internal rhyme, same concept, different concept. Okay. So I cried when it died, and my mom fried my pet fish. Right? Okay. So cried, died, fried. Died happens to be at the end of the first line, but it doesn't rhyme with fish. So that's all internal rhyme. Now for something that Koreans with Korean strong Konglish pronunciation will hate, syllable count. Okay? A syllable is just 1 unit of sound in a word. Okay? So cat, 1 syllable. Doctor, 2 syllables. Elevator, 4 syllables. Meter is more challenging. Meter is the regular pattern of rhythm, and we measure it in feet. And a foot is usually 2 syllables or 3 syllables. But usually it's 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 feet. The U shape means that the syllable is unstressed. It doesn't take a lot of stress in the line. The slash means that it is stressed. Okay. And then this line between the word clasps and the shows where the feet are, or the division between the feet. So the way this one would be marked out is, he clasps the crag with crooked hands. Crooked, 2 syllables, right? 1 word, 2 syllables. So the feet divide the word crooked in half. Usually, small, unimportant words are not stressed. So the doesn't often get stressed. With, words like that very rarely get stressed. They can, depending on the line and the meaning, but not often. Okay? So he clasps the crag with crooked hands. Okay? That's meter. Scansion is just the process of measuring that meter. If I say, scan this poem, that means you will find the stress and unstress pattern in the poem. If I say, what is the scansion? Same thing. There are a few ways that you can mark scansion. One is the U shape with the slash, or if you're on a typewriter or a computer, you can use a dash and a slash, or you can use normal letters and bold letters, or you can use different coloring, like the gray and the yellow I have here, or you can do lowercase and uppercase them, and those are all acceptable. Pretty simple, right? Repetition. Everyone knows what repetition is. You hear it again and again and again and again, right? However, there are a couple of different styles of repetition. Repetition at the beginning of a line is called anaphora. Repetition at the end of a line is called epistrophe. Epistrophe. And then repetition anywhere else is just repetition. So for the example, quack, 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 said the confused horse. Quack yourself, said the duck to the horse. Okay. In this case, quack, quack, quack is the repetition. And I guess actually the quack on the second line would be part of that as well. But the first quack on the first line and the first quack on the second line are the beginning. That makes them anaphora. And then horse and horse at the end of each line makes them epistrophe. Now note, horse and horse are epistrophe. They are not a rhyme. If you try to write the sonnet that I'm going to give you as an assignment later with the same word, I won't count it as rhyme. Okay? But a few words to remember there. Anaphora, epistrophe. We also have some of those divisions with the sounds, like alliteration. Now, alliteration is the repetition of sounds generally anywhere, but mostly at the beginning of words. So, big babies beatbox when they get bored. And I've known this. I've had a baby, and they beatbox whenever they get really bored. So, B, 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 B is repetition. You need 3 or more of the same sound to really count as alliteration. If it's just 2, it doesn't really count. And it doesn't have to be on the same line. It can be on different lines. But there have to be several instances of it so that it becomes obvious. This is pretty simple. This is straightforward. You had to do this with Beowulf. So this is not a problem. However, there is one category that's a little different. It's what's called assonance. An assonance is the repetition of vowel sounds. A, E, I, O, U. Okay. So an angry animal is always an alarming animal. Notice it's not only at the beginning of the word. It can be inside the word. All right? But it's the A sound. No, A, E, I, O, U. So on this line, there is an I here, an I, in the word animal, there's the word I, or letter I and is. There's a letter I in alarming, and animal again. So, would you be able to count that I sound? Oh, no, I don't want that. Would you be able to count this I, and this I, and this I, and this I? Would you be able to count them as assonance? Maybe. Let's see. An, I, is, ing, I. Do we have 3 examples or 4 examples of assonance in this line?
3.
Only 3, right? This last one in the word alarming, it's the right letter, but it's the wrong sound. It's the wrong sound. Animal is, animal, alarming. E sound. This is an E sound, this is an I sound. So this doesn't fit. Now, you could say though that there are 1, 2, 3 examples of I or the I sound, so it would be assonance, but no one is going to notice it because there are so many A's. They're going to notice the A assonance, right? But it is there. And then consonance is everything else. B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, Z. Okay. So because kittens can't bake cookies, notice C and K, not the same letter because it doesn't matter. It's the sound that matters. If you had a CH is sometimes a K sound. A CH, a C, or a K, all would fit into consonants. And again, it doesn't matter where in the line you find it. Pretty easy though, right? This stuff is just definitions. Now for the slightly challenging part. The feet. I know, right? Looks great. Okay, the feet are how we measure the lines, right? That stress. And English has a few that are more common than others. So the ones that you'll need to pay attention to are iamb, mostly, trochee, dactyl, anapest, and maybe spondy and pyrrhus. The rest are not very common. The rest are not very common in English. Okay? But iamb is the most common. Trochees you'll find a lot. Dactyls and anapests you'll find occasionally as well. So those ones you'll want to keep an eye out for. And we're going to experiment with this a little bit later today. So the word happy is a trochee. Do we say, when we say the word happy, do we say happy or do we say happy? Happy?
Happy.
Happy. It would be happy, maybe if it were a question, right? Are you happy? Goes up at the end, right? So that might be stressed differently. But normally the word happy is happy, so trochee. I saw a boy. Saw, boy are stressed. I, not stressed. So iamb plus iamb. The iambs, right? In time, iamb. In is not stressed. Notice what I said before about words that are not so important in the line are not stressed. I, in. In a car, same. In a car. Anapest. I saw a boy who climbed a tree. That's iamb 4 times. I saw a boy who climbed a tree. That's iamb 4 times. When we say 4 times, we actually don't say iamb 4 times. We don't say it that way. We say something different. We have a special name for it. If you know your Greek numbers, and I'm sure you guys all know your Greek numbers, right? 3 is tri, right? 4 is tetra. I think the Latin is quarter or quattro, right? So a quatrain was 4 lines. 4 feet per line is tetrameter, tetrameter. 5 feet per line, pentameter. 6 feet per line, hexameter, heptameter. And then, like an octopus, octameter, right, for 8 lines. So when we see, I saw a boy who climbed a tree, iambic 4, tetrameter. Iambic tetrameter. The most common, at least for the time period that we're going to be studying, is 5 feet per line of iamb. So iambic pentameter is what we'll be studying the most. The sonnets that we'll be reading are mostly iambic pentameter. Let's finish this off with one example of pentameter. Okay? This is from Shakespeare. This is one of Shakespeare's most famous poems. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Now, we don't read it that way. We don't read it that way. No one wants to hear a poem read that way. It sounds terrible. I'm exaggerating it to make it sound a little bit more normal. So, why don't you guys do with me? Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Okay. Yes, it does sound weird when you're saying it that way, but it'll help you to figure out the stress when you're asked to find it. When you're asked scansion, it'll help you to do that. It should be, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. When you read it that way, it sounds normal, right? But the stress is still there. Okay, are there any questions about this? Any of these terms? No? Okay, in that case then, do me a favor, go ahead and open up your computers and go to this website.